Aloha and welcome to this brief screencast about the meteor-example-uh-cas system. It's a pretty simple example that is a variation of the Meteor application template system. That's at GitHub Meteor application template. So you should go through that and understand this system a little bit at least before you look at meteor-example-uh-cas, because basically what I've done is just kind of forked the Meteor application template system and made the minimal amount of changes necessary to do authentication with the University of Hawaii CAS server rather than Meteor's built-in account system. Okay, so there's stuff about the example template I'm not going to go over in this screencast, but you can go look at the screencast for that other system if you're interested. Let me start by giving you a quick demo of the system. There's a login link here. When you click it, what comes up is the University of Hawaii test CAS server, which is a server they supply. Anybody can use it to check out their CAS authentication system. Essentially what happens if you really want to use CAS authentication, you have to deploy your system to some URL and then send that URL to ITS, University of Hawaii, and say, hey, I want you to actually service CAS requests coming from this particular URL and send it to the real CAS server. All this is explained in a link that I'll show you in a second. But anyway, when you click on this, what should happen if things are working correctly is that this test CAS authentication page will come up, and you can put in your username. And if you put in my username, it'll actually work. If you put in your username, it probably won't work. And I'll explain in a second how to make it work for your username as well. And so you can see now I'm logged in, and there's some additional links that are available. And this is turned into it shows my account name, and then there's a pull-down menu, and I can click log out, and now I'm logged out. Now what's a little, I don't know, disconcerting, or, is this a bug, is this a feature, I don't know, but if you click login again, it's basically going to take you directly. It saves your credentials for a while. I don't know exactly how long. And so in Chrome, if you really want to get rid of, get things to go back to scratch, you have to go to this clear browsing data and click that. And then if I now go here, and click login, I get the window again. Okay, so that's really the demo of the system. Okay, you can log in, you can log out, and it saves your credentials for a while. Okay, so how do we actually implement this? The first thing is you probably want to go to this page if you're interested in learning more about the CAS service and how that all works. That's where the documentation for that is. But on the Meteor side, what we've done is we've installed the ATOI 40 Meteor Accounts CAS service. As of Meteor 1.2, if you're using that version or later, at least in my case, I got an error when I first tried to use this because it couldn't find the random package. So I did meteor add random, and it added the package, and then that all works. So if you have a problem with some random not being defined, that's how you fix it. Okay, so what did I do? Well, it turns out that that I defined a CAS login template. So let's click on over to GitHub, and what you can see is in the app client templates application directory, there's a bunch of templates associated with the overall application as opposed to specific pages. Again, go to the Meteor application template site to kind of get details on the directory structure for this application and what it does and all that. I'm not going to talk about that here. But what I've changed is I've added these two files, caslogin.html and caslogin.js. Caslogin.html is a very simple little template that checks to see if we're logged in. Then we create that drop-down menu that shows the user's name in the nav bar, and then a drop-down menu with the logout button. Alternatively, if we're not logged in, then it shows a link that says login, and then we've got this CAS login class, which is kind of a fake CSS class, but we're going to use that in our event handler to figure out what just got clicked. Similarly, there'll be a CAS logout class, which is used by this JavaScript file. Okay, so this is a template for CAS login. We're looking for various events. One event is a click event with the CAS logout class. The other one's a click event with the class login class. So that's those two classes that I added to the links. First thing we do is we disable the regular click, the regular link click handling behavior. In the case of a logout, we just call meteor logout and false. In the case of a login, we create this callback that just checks to make sure there wasn't an error. If there is an error, we just log it to the console. Normally, you'll probably want to tell the user something about this, but in this sample code, we don't do that. And then we call this login with CAS, which is what is provided to us by that atoy package. Okay, and more or less, that's basically it. If we go to this header file, what you can see is here is where we locate the template. Okay, so we're inside UL, which is navbar right, which pulls it over to the right side of the navbar. This stuff only appears once we're logged in, and then this will always appear to the far right of the screen. Okay, so let's go back here. And so I've just gone through this paragraph where we have a template called CAS login and CAS login.html and CAS login JavaScript, and we invoke that template in the header HTML. Okay, now there is also in the settings development.json file some interesting stuff. This first stuff is related to the CAS parameters required for the test service for UH, and then the pop-up with and junk like that. And you can look at the atoy package and or the ITS, the Hawaii's CAS documentation pages to figure out more about these parameters. But then we also have this, which is another little feature that I wanted to show you guys, an allowed users section of the settings file, and it says the only allowed users are those whose names are Johnson and whose account names are Johnson and Seymour. Okay, so since most of you are not going to have the UH account Johnson or Seymour, it means that most of you will not be able to log in using the sample code until you edit that file. Okay, so this shows that the simple way that you can restrict access to both, not only those that have a UH account, but those who have a UH account and for whom the account values are Johnson and Seymour. Okay. All right. Well, how does that actually? Sure, we got in the settings file, and of course, when we bring up Meteor, we have to say Meteor -- settings, and then the path to settings, the settings file. But how is that restriction actually implemented? That happens. Actually, maybe I'll go back to here so you can see where I am. So checking to see that only the user specified in the settings development JSON file allowed is implemented in this file here, accounts.js. Okay, and here's where we add this function to the validate new user property of the accounts package, which runs this thing every time someone tries to log in. After the authentication occurs, we have to say, is this a user that we want? So what we do is we get the username from this user.services.cas.id. Then we check to see if the username exists and if it's in our Meteor's settings.allowed package. If so, we return true. If false, we throw a Meteor error. Okay, so that's how we actually use the values or check that the user who's trying to log in is actually one of those users that we've specified in the settings file. Okay, with that, I think we've pretty much defined things. That's CAS authentication in Meteor. Yes, indeed, it's really simple. It's yet another really simple thing in Meteor.